Indiana's already closed, so we've got results coming in quickly. Ohio will be coming up pretty soon here. 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. There's not going to be any substantial races here, top tier ones. More so, I think what's going on is down ballot in the Indiana Senate, the state Senate. So we'll give it a bit here, but welcome aboard to another Political Excess primary live stream. Hope everybody's doing reasonably well, and sure we'll see some familiar characters here, and hopefully some new people as well. So I think we're all set. I think everything is up and running, and this is it, the May 5th primary. So we'll sit here on Indiana. We've got the U.S. House for right now, and this is pretty much a 7-2 map. I don't think we're really expecting incumbents to be in danger, although here's Victoria Spartz. Kind of a challenge here. She's in the lead, but I haven't followed this race. We've got Scott King over 40%. This is the district northeast of Indianapolis. It was kind of light blue, probably would be toss up, maybe even light. It was light red before redistricting, but now after redistricting they solidified it. Democrats not really going to be able to pick this one up, but if the trends continue, this could be one that could lean blue at this point. The other district, northwest part of the state, it's a lean to likely blue district, and I think again the big story here is Indiana not redrawing their congressional map. And Trump wanted it done. Republicans could have made it a 9-0 map. Instead, it's going to be 7-2. So fairly red state, actually pretty red. It's closer to very red than light red. So we'll hang out here for a bit. We'll see what happens. We'll see who shows up. Probably not going to be too long of a night. At least an hour, but maybe two, maybe more than that. So how's everybody doing? Everybody having a nice night here as we wait for it to fill in. I have to pull up something here. I'm going to pull up the primary schedule. Let's see. Let's get this up. All right, so yeah, next week we've got Nebraska, we've got New Jersey. Well, West Virginia as well, but not much going on there in New Jersey, just Newark Mayor. And then more coming up pretty much every week here as we really get into the bulk of primary season. All right, so actually did not put out a notice for this stream. We'll see if that actually has any kind of an effect. I wasn't expecting too long of a night. Again, no real high profile races statewide. It's all pretty much going to be down ballot. So we've got the state legislature, the state senate. Again, those Republicans that didn't want to redistrict and redraw the map, they're going to be in danger. I'm not exactly sure which ones they are. Didn't really get to look too far into it, but I'm sure some of them are probably going to go down here. Less than 5 minutes for Ohio. Okay. Still waiting for it to fill in a little bit more than this. I assume the alerts went out once the stream took off, but oh, actually, we've got it right here. This is very helpful. 7 races. President Trump has endorsed challengers to incumbent Republicans who voted against the congressional redistricting measure. That that saves us some time. Very helpful here. So we've got um, very close one here in the 11th. Um, but it's still super early. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. We'll see if anything happens here in the House. And again, Ohio coming up. But again, not a whole lot to take a look at here. It was kind of borderline if we should even do a stream. Um, but we're going to do it. Was able to fit it in. Sometimes I can't fit it in. Who knows what's going to happen next time. Brian Chavez, hello. You made it. One of the few who made it as we're about 7 minutes in. Um, all right. If it's going to be a slow night, definitely be able to read whatever comments may come up. But Ohio, Indiana, 2 neighboring states, neither of them really with a knockout, high-profile statewide race for the primary. For the general, definitely Ohio going to have a lot of action there. And of course, Indiana has no governor's race this year. That's going to be in a couple of years. Okay. Um, Nate, thanks for doing these. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Glad you enjoy them. There's probably other streams you could be at, but good to see you here. And you're doing a Substack for 50 state primary previews. Okay, it's sort of like the videos I've done, especially 4 years ago. I think I covered probably every primary, and a lot of states have almost no action whatsoever. So some of them are going to be kind of boring, but nice to have a complete 50 state in depth analysis or preview or whatever you're going to do. Uh, Shadow Legend slash Swinger, hello. Good to see you in the first 10 minutes here. I remember the Indiana primary 2 years ago. That actually was the stream where it was just Indiana for president, as well as governor and senate. But that was the day we got the most viewers ever in the stream. I think it was about 230. So I don't know what happened. Like, that was the high point. It seemed like, well, of course, it doesn't have to be that high every time, but it was going to probably increase over time. But no, it was like that was the high point, and somehow you can't even get close to that. So who knows what to expect? So what if Indiana did redistrict? They would have got two more, at least one. They could have got all 9 seats. And, the redistricting thing, let's be honest here, it's completely gone way off the rails. All states, it's crazy. Even before redistricting, of course, then there's the debate about this state had this advantage or this state did this. It's never really going to end. It's really tough. And the Supreme Court ruling recently, um, I did do a video on the Florida map, put that out today, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. But hopefully, by it getting worse, both sides can agree that it's way too far. We got to just focus on the partisan gerrymandering. Now, is there a perfect solution? Yeah, not really. There's going to be a lot of debate over it, but the partisan gerrymandering, that's something everybody could get behind, both sides. That's the way to go, I think. But who knows what's going to happen? Of course, the Supreme Court allowed partisan gerrymandering a few years back, but you never know what's going to happen. Now, a lot of people are paying attention to redistricting and gerrymandering. States are trying to get rid of independent commissions. They're trying to suspend them. Some states never had them. Then there's debate about how independent the commissions really are. What if there's a tie? Do they really have the power to draw the maps? It's really complicated. There's all these other proposals on how to do things, expand the House, multi-member districts, ranked choice voting. It really goes on and on and on. All right. Um, Find out if MAGA is a movement in Indiana. They're just playing follow the leader. Well, we shall see. It was predicted Ohio to be a likely R state for the future, but has changed in recent times. Well, I don't know about that. I think, you know, there's oscillation, you know, in elections. Sometimes in one election could be a wave year. A state might go back a little bit, like New Jersey. That went back, and a lot of people were saying, hey, this is the next swing state. Give it another one or two elections. I was like, well, let's give it two. Let's see if they do it two in a row. They didn't do it two in a row, really. Um, and then they went back now. I don't know if anybody's still talking about New Jersey being the next purple state. I haven't really followed it, but yeah, you can go have some swings in one direction or the other, but 2 to 3 elections, that's what we want to see. And I would think Ohio would still be moderately red. Doesn't mean they can't elect a Democrat for governor, even possibly even in the Senate in this kind of environment with Sherrod Brown. At this point, I would think he wouldn't win, but he's going to be close. But and he could pull it out in another few months. It could really look like he's mounting a strong campaign there. But of course, governor is different. Blue states elect Republican governors. Red states elect Democratic governors. It happens. I don't think it really means the state overall is changing its trajectory on political ideology. Anyway, what have we got here? Polls are closed in Ohio now. And there's really nothing to see here. Um, Unopposed pretty much for governor. I mean, you got Ramaswamy, you've got Amy Acton. She's officially uncontested, but Ramaswamy, I would imagine he's going to pull in a ton, over 70%. But we'll see what happens. Sherrod Brown against John Husted. Husted, really not a weak candidate. If this was Brown against Bernie Moreno from last time, it seems like Brown would be better. But Husted seems pretty establishment. He's got a lot of elected experience, and he's already the incumbent. And Brown just came off a loss to a weaker candidate, theoretically, Bernie Moreno. So, and plus he's in his 70s. the state has really culturally moved past Sherrod Brown. He's got some of the economic appeal, no doubt about it. Now, Houston is not, I don't think he's really that exciting or any kind of a titan of a candidate. But considering the trend of the state, it seems like it would be embarrassing for Houston if he lost. So we'll glance at a few of these, but this is probably not going to be a super long stream. 1 or 2 hours. We'll see what happens. We'll see who shows up. We'll see what we've got. And good to have everybody in here. Not sure if getting both is possible. All Republican controlled districts have 30% support from Dems, and these two massive pots of Dem support would cause a dummy matter. We talk about the Indiana map. Well, the one district is very blue, the Indianapolis district, but the first district is only fairly mildly blue. That easily could be gerrymandered into another red district. But yeah, you'd have to totally dismantle the seventh here. And Andre Carson does have a primary challenger. You'd have to dismantle this, and that's what would happen. Probably split it up, like we see in medium-sized cities, like Little Rock. Uh, you just crack it 3 or 4 times, and that's what everybody does. They they'll crack their big cities, and Democrats want to crack them to have it tilt in their favor. Have a little bit more Dems in those districts. Republicans want to crack them and put a little bit more Republicans in there. Let's see. Uh, Proportional representation. Yeah, I know there's a lot of generic proposals that I think people would agree with, but then once you get into the details, that's where I think it's going to start to become contentious. Replace the Senate with proportional representation. Okay. Blame Greg Abbott for mid-decade redistricting. Okay. These are all things that, yeah, these are common sentiments out there. Indiana map. Okay. Yep. Anyway, let's see. Do we got anything in Ohio? Okay, here it is. Super red county here. Ramaswamy in the 80s. I'm not even sure who the challenger really is. I haven't followed this because it seemed like Ramaswamy's going to run away with it. Is this some more moderate or establishment candidate? I haven't really followed it. I think he's going to be irrelevant in about an hour from now, so that's kind of why I haven't followed it. It's hard to really follow a lot of races when they're going to be irrelevant pretty soon after the primary. Or actually, they're going to be irrelevant for the primary. If it was going to be a close battle, that'd be something to watch for tonight, but it's not even going to be close tonight unless something insane happens. All right. Well, um, again, here we are for a stream. A couple of states. We've got Indiana. We've got Ohio. So appreciate a few people stopping by. I didn't put out notice for this stream. I probably should have put out a tweet or something. But we'll see what happens. See if we get any big upsets here. Well, we've got one of the um, challengers endorsed by Trump knocking off an incumbent here. The 19th. man, that is that's one for Trump there. He's got one candidate he's knocked out, and let's see. He's in the lead on most of these. He's trailing fairly convincingly. It's 38th district, but the rest, Republicans might be strengthening um, their roster for more favorable redistricting. But of course, these people do have to win in the general. Um, Ohio ceased to be a swing state in 16, not 20. Yeah, I mean, it's way easier in retrospect to see the point that a state really took on a new identity. Because one election, again, kind of not enough. You got to at least give it two elections, 2 years apart. Ideally, three elections, get two full cycles, a full presidential cycle, um, or two midterm cycles. But just one, kind of not enough because there's wave elections and there's different trends and everything. But yeah, 16, I mean, Obama wins Ohio two times, he wins Indiana one time. So Trump getting it at 16, that was laying the groundwork for it to kind of not be a swingy purple state anymore. But remember the polling. The polling showed Ohio competitive and possibly even Hillary in the lead, I think, in some of the polls at 16. It might even have been kind of a toss up on some polls in 20. But I think by 24, then, that's the third time. I think nobody was really thinking that Harris was going to be competitive in that state, but it took a few cycles. Uh, Working on Oregon, really nothing to talk about. Yeah, as far as primaries go, well, you do have GOP governor primary there. You've got Christine Drazen trying to make a second run, probably going to be the nominee given her name ID, but she's not going to just run unopposed. I haven't paid attention to the dynamics, but there's something going on there. And whoever the Republicans are going to put up for the Senate there, I think there's something going on there too. I haven't checked in the last couple of weeks, but and in the House, yeah, who knows? Not a lot of competition in Oregon. Well, there is one. The one district should be semi-competitive though. The former Lori Chavez de Reamer district. That one went back and forth as uh, after the last map was redrawn. Um, let's see. Ohio Republican Senate primary had closer result. Spells trouble for Republicans. It could imply racism in influencing the support. Let's see. This John Husted unopposed race, Ohio Republican Senate primary. I'm not following that, but let's see. Redistricting should only happen the first 2 years. Uh, yeah, I mean the nonpartisan way again. Yeah, that all sounds good, and I think it's easy to agree with that. But then, yeah, how to do it actually nonpartisan is the real question. Both sides are going to want to put their thumb on the scale. They want to game the system. If you have an independent commission, how do you really make it independent? And what if the commission can't agree? And what if the commission just comes up with kind of a weak map. And then, even if you still do the maps in the first 2 years, I mean, there's going to be tons of debate about which states already last time kind of went too far on their maps. I was reviewing them all, crunching all the numbers. And now I think I would need to do an update because so many states have changed. But it was usually Republicans gain about a seat in a lot of smaller states. Dems go way over the top in the bluer states. Now it's changed a little bit, of course, after get, we've got Texas, Florida, a new map. But then, of course, California already redrew their map again. It was already arguably the worst imbalanced map. And then they redrew it again. And it's completely imbalanced, except Virginia. The Virginia map, that's kind of giving everybody a run for their money. But I don't know if everybody's been following this. Here's the Will the congressional map be used in the midterms? And took a dip here. It was put on hold by the state Supreme Court. It was looking like it was going to go in. Then it dropped off. Now it's kind of went up just a little bit. But there's a chance that state Supreme Court does not allow the map to be used. And I mean, they could let it be used too. It's unclear. The market is showing it's not going to be used, but that'd be a big deal. That might be the worst map. I think a lot of people think that is an 11, 10 to 1 map is totally insane. I mean, a 10 to 9 to 2 map, that'd be really nuts, but 11 to 1 is quite possibly the most imbalanced map in the US. Again, have to go back, redo Texas, redo California. Might be taking a look at New York. Illinois was always a terrible map, and now it looks like that might be a little bit less terrible if you compare it to the new maps. So Amy Acton and Vivek facing off for governor. That is going to be wild stuff. Amy Acton, she was in charge of health during COVID, and she's making a run here. Remember 8 years ago, it looked like it was going to be close between DeWine and Richard Cordray, I think it was. And polling showed it tight, but DeWine, I mean, Ohio legend DeWine, right? This guy's been in like every office, right? He's taken losses in the Senate. He's won so many different offices, and he pulled it out. And then, of course, he got reelected in 22 by a total landslide. That was pretty brutal, that reelection. But now we're looking at similar dynamics as 18. Okay. Drazen 60, 65%. Okay. So fairly commanding there. Okay. Governor. Uh, yeah. I mean, this is a fascinating race. I mean, before it looked like Ramaswamy might be appointed to the Senate instead of John Husted. But once all the dust settled, Ramaswamy going for governor. He's young, and he's kind of embodies a lot of the energy of the new Trump crowd, kind of, but from the tech side of things. But he hasn't really apparently run the strongest campaign. But now it's really going to heat up, probably after Memorial Day. So we'll give it a month. People pay more attention, but some people really, again, they're not going to pay attention till October. So whatever the polling looks like now, it's fun to talk about, but might not hold up for the next 5 months. All right. Yeah. Welcome aboard here. Hope everybody's having a reasonable night, and thanks for stopping by the channel and taking part of the stream. If you're lurking, if you're chatting, it's all good. And Pennsylvania registration going back to the Dems. Did that come out today? I haven't checked today or yesterday, but yeah, I think last month Dems made some gains, but they were taking loss after loss, almost not every month, but most of the months. But how much does it matter when Republicans were making gains all the time? I was like, yeah, that looks good. You'd rather have it look good, but ultimately, it's about the election results. And Dems have been overperforming. So who cares about the Republicans making gains there? I don't really care about the Dems making gains. I don't think it's nothing. I think it's fun to talk about. But as far as predicting where it matters, and that's going to be the results, I don't think it predicts a whole lot. But the Dems were due for some gains. They've lost a ton just in the last year and a half. They've lost so many in so many states. Let's see. Do you think you'll ever do any long form documentaries on anything? That's not really. Um, it's not really on the radar. But I mean, it would just take so much effort, and it's already been. It's hard to even do the channel as it is, and also the channel again. If you've followed the last couple of streams, channel really doing very poorly for whatever reason. It's totally unknown. But the last year, terrible, terrible stats, like really bad. And I mean, I'm doing everything the same, so it's kind of a mystery. And it was even bad before the presidential election. It should have gone up before the last presidential. It started going leveling off, which was weird. And then after that, just totally dropped off. So it's hard to want to sink more time into something that could take tons of hours if nobody's even coming to the channel already. And there's, 15, 1600 something videos. I could do some narration maybe for somebody else's documentary, but it's a lot of work to do some long form thing. If it's a 20, 30-minute video, it could take, dozens of hours of research, planning, and editing. That's a lot. Um, Even if you're getting like paid a lot, it's still a lot of effort. All right. No updates here in Indiana. And we've got one challenger confirmed to be a winner here in the state Senate of Trump endorsed candidates. There's also this state Senate election here, this primary, or this special election, sorry, for the state Senate that's coming up in 5 minutes. It's a blue district, not super blue, fairly closer to lighter blue, but that's happening. This would be a total, given the overperformance of Dems and specials, this would be nuts if Republicans pick this up. But again, I haven't followed the dynamics here. Maybe there's more to it. Okay. Well, again, the primary schedule here. We've got in a week, Nebraska has tons of action, but I'm not sure if there's any high profile primary races. West Virginia, and then we've got Louisiana. For whatever reason, they don't do their elections on Tuesday. And then the 19th, really like peak primaries season. We've got Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky, Oregon, Pennsylvania. I mean, that is stacked. And then that big runoff in Texas. Then more in June. It's really tons going on. The California race, the big thing is going to be governor there. It's hard to follow those districts after the map has been redrawn. But for governor, that top two primary, what's going to happen there? Republicans hoping to pull the inside straight and get two candidates in the general, lock out the Dems. But as of right now, it looks like it'd be Steve Hilton, Javier Becerra. But you got Steyer, he's on the outside. Chad Bianco's looking on the outside. Don't forget about Matt Mahan, Katie Porter. Going to be another debate coming up. Let's see. I always find it weird when we get one random county comes in quickly and then nothing happens 20 minutes later. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay. Michigan Dem Senate primary is going to be extremely heated. Yeah, that thing is really, really heating up following whatever's been going on with McMorrow. Taking a little bit of heat lately for some statements. Her like loyalty to Michigan maybe in question. And Abdul El Sayed, who is the most left candidate, more risky in the general. And then you've got Haley Stevens in there. But El Sayed seemed to have become the favorite in the markets as of last week. Not sure if anything changed today or yesterday, but that's big time stuff. If somehow it was El Sayed against Rogers in the general, could be they could be more competitive for sure. And if it was not a blue leaning environment, I would think Rogers would probably be able to pull off something there. But now Republicans really the underdogs here. They're hoping something changes over the next 6 months because it looks like they're headed to some pretty significant losses. That's what happens. I mean, I say it pretty much every video. If you want to have success, you pretty much got to give up the White House. Look at the Dems in 2008. Resounding victory for Obama. 2 years later, total blowout, completely wiped out. Just 2 years after that win. So what does that mean? It just means things go back and forth. And 2 years after that, Obama wins re-election. So if you just look at things without the next election, it looks like they're going to keep going one way. So after 2008, it looked like, oh God, Republicans, are they going to do anything ever again? Are they finished? Just 2 years later, they came roaring back. Look at the Dems after 1988. They lose 3 consecutive presidential elections, but they weren't done for. They come back with Bill Clinton. Okay. Should be an easy win for the Dems in that state Senate seat. Yeah, we would think it should be an easy hold, relatively speaking. Yeah, I did see that Cornyn poll actually. I think I just saw that here. Paxton up by 3. University of Houston 48-45. That's a coin flip right there. And that race is pretty crazy. It looked like everybody was waiting on the Trump endorsement. He was going to go actually go for Paxton. Then after Cornyn didn't do terrible, it looked like he was going to go for Cornyn, and he kind of pulled back. And it's tough. I mean, apparently the base does not like Cornyn, but the general election, Cornyn probably going to be stronger. Okay, everything seems to have stagnated here. We've got like no updates. Okay, let's see. Got plenty of time to read these comments, so if you're lurking and you want to get anything in, anything constructive, go for it. Maybe we'll get another couple of super chats. We'll get some new members. We'll get everything. Maybe. All right. The Nebraska second Dem primary could be interesting. Frontrunner probably cruise to a win. That one I haven't really actually looked too much into. So yeah, I can't comment on it, but I did hear there is not a clear front runner. But beyond that, I don't know enough to really comment on it. But yeah, that would be the Don Bacon seat. And it seemed like Bacon has been, the guy who just pulls it out every time. Sort of like Matt Cartwright up until last time. Just narrowly scrapes by. And this time, though, he's retiring. Blue leaning environment. Seems like Dems should win that seat by at least a few points. It could be 5 or 6, but who knows? Uh, yeah, the Utah district. There was that big scandal a couple of weeks ago, right, with the one candidate, Nate, who he was the progressive, right, and he had some stuff exposed about his past comments. Very unflattering, offensive comments from back in the day. And I think his stock went way down, but I haven't seen what was going on since then. I don't really know, but I do remember that happening. Um, Magano's video is grifting. He'll likely lose. I'm not sure what that means. Nebraska City Burbank. William Forbes. GOP plant. Okay, they got a plant in there. Good. Good to see some, are not good to hear about these more down ballot races. I'm not familiar with them, so it's good to get some updates. Um, there's so many races, you can't keep up with all of them, especially if this isn't the thing you're focused on doing 24/7. But yeah, always good to get some additional information about some of these races. Yeah, does anybody know about this guy here, Casey Putch? What's his story? And why is this totally froze? This is pretty outrageous. Okay. Clover Finder boy. You didn't miss a whole lot, really. A little bit of conversation, but you made it in. Nice to see you. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Vivek. Okay. Is that what's going on? Vivek is grifting? Well, I would think he would be having a tough primary then. This would be the chance if the base wants to, pick somebody that is not grifting, that they would not be going for Vivek. Here we go, by a ton. And he's already got it. It's confirmed. It's over all of a sudden now. 12% in tons of counties. But yeah, he's in the 80s. See what he gets in the bluer counties. But yeah, this is a complete landslide. So we've got Ramaswamy and Acton. Going to be a good battle. I mean, it's a red leading state. Vivek can't take it for granted. Acton has to have some appeal to some of these Trump voters. She can't just go into the cities and try to get independence. She's going to have some appeal. She's going to just hit up economics. That's the plan for the Dems. But you got to have some cultural appeal, and a lot of the cultural appeal of national Dems is kind of toxic. So you got to be able to pick a couple of things to say where you think your national party is out of step. And Republicans should do the same thing with some of the economic issues. As most voters, I think they like at least a couple of things about both sides. But the way it works is you got to pick one or the other, and then you get what you want, but you also get a few things that you don't want, and things go back and forth. All right, we've got one of the incumbents opposed to redistricting has secured their primary win here, and the rest 1% in here on that one. All the other ones, the Trump-backed candidates are in the lead. Casey Putch, Ohioan car YouTuber. So he's totally outside the system, nothing to do with anything. But how is he running? Is he running to the right of Ramaswamy? Is he running as what? I don't know what his angle is. Indiana really has. It's really all about the state senate here to see if Trump is going to get state senators that are more favorable to redrawing the map. Because we've got the U.S. House here, and not a whole lot to look at here. I mean, these districts not really going to be competitive in the general. That's the thing. But I think there could be some interest here. Well, no, Andre Carson has already won. I believe he fought off a more progressive challenger. Okay. You like the smaller scale live streams, kind of a small hangout place. Yeah, I get it. It's cozy, right? But like I said before, 2 years ago on just the Indiana stream for president, we had over 230 people at one point, and I kind of like to have that going on. I was getting moderation going. So many people in there I had to get some mods, but it fizzled out for whatever reason. But it's cozy, but it's not. It takes time to do the streams. It takes time to make the videos, and after doing this for over 4 years, it'd be nice if the channel was a little bit above this. In the last 6 months, gained very, very few subs. The watch time is down. Everything. Okay. You think there's a reason there isn't as much anti-PAC money sentiment in Republican primaries compared to Dem primaries? I guess I'd have to see what the numbers are on on the PAC money. because I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But um, I think maybe because the Dems usually here, they've just been more, I guess, recently, historically, um, the uh, the base more against the corporate donations. That's something you've heard for a while for the Dems. They don't like that kind of stuff, the dark money, and then of course, more recently, the APAC money has been such a big thing the past couple of years. So that I think is what comes to mind off the top of my head. And I think in principle, Republican voters, I think they would generally, in a vacuum, take a more populist approach too and say, no, we don't want the corporations donating unlimited amounts of money. We don't want the dark money. We don't want the PACs. I think a lot of people generally find that to be unsavory. But I guess it's just kind of more of a out in the open issue with the Dems. But again, I'm not sure what the actual numbers are. Punch is more right wing than Ramaswamy. Okay, interesting. Thanks for that information. He's running to the right of Ramaswamy. He has support from the Fuentes crowd. Okay. Well, he didn't do much. Nothing here in this Michigan State Senate district special election. Let's see. And again, yeah, this new congressional map in Virginia, is it going to go into effect? I mean, look where it was. April 22nd. It was in the 90s. And then it just crashed yesterday down into the 30s. Now it's in the 40s. That's a big deal with that waiting on that Supreme Court ruling, the state Supreme Court. Are they going to avoid that map? Are they going to say they can't use it, even though it was already approved? It's crazy. So we're kind of, let's see, kind of waiting to see what we can really look at here. There's not a ton to look at here, but only a couple of states. Well, I guess two states is better than one state. But we can always discuss anything about upcoming races. I mean, if the election were held right now, it would seem like, yeah, Dems would have a really nice night, absolutely getting pickups in North Carolina and potentially Alaska, Maine, maybe Iowa, Ohio. Those are probably possibilities. But in 6 months, I don't know. Okay, online groups for hoping for between 20 and 28%. I'm not even sure what that's for Casey Putch. You mean his support? I think that's might be what it is. Okay. Not a lot of updates here on New York Times. Um, there are some down ballot races here, but in the general, this ninth district race, this should be a good one here. Because remember, Ohio redrew their maps as well. And It's not, it's kind of a weird map. They didn't solidify some of these seats. And in a blue year, Dems could actually hold on to some of these. But this ninth district here, Marcy Captain, who's been there forever, she's been targeted, she's held on, but now the map is kind of, it's redder. So looks like Marin, I think that's Derek Marin who took her on last time, unless I'm completely wrong. That could be one of the rare pickup opportunities for the Republicans this year. They don't have a ton. Of course, it depends on the maps. That's going to be another issue. But Maine second, the Jared Golden district. That's another one of the few Republicans might be picking up there with Paul LePage, former governor, going down into the U.S. House, also in his like mid 70s. I didn't be. I think he's actually in his late 70s, and he's going to go into the U.S. House. That's wild stuff. Okay. Um. Republican Georgia Senate race. Yeah, that thing. That's one. Ever since Brian Kemp decided not to run, and there was no clear front runner, I think a lot of people lost interest because it just seemed like Ossoff was going to be favored, and that's pretty much how it looks now. But it's been so all over the place with Kemp going for Dooley, and it just I haven't even checked on that race actually in a little while, but kind of a mess. I would actually like to see what Kemp would have done in this environment against Ossoff, because Kemp apparently is popular, like 60% approval, something like that, in a purple state. So I think that would have been a great race. That would have been fantastic because Kemp probably could have won still, even in this environment. Billion for the ballroom. Yeah, the ballroom thing. It's not something I think about much, but yeah, it's a lot of money. It's happening. Some people have a strong opinion about it. Yeah, we definitely could use money for healthcare. Uh, Spent on healthcare for Minnesota would already be on a plane out of the country. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on with some of the healthcare spending, fraud, Medicaid, all that stuff. And also about the Georgia governor's race, too, aside from that Senate. That thing is really exciting as well. Burt Jones and Rick Jackson. Apparently, Rick Jackson coming out of nowhere, possibly going to be the nominee. Let's see. Talrico. Fancy wins against Corn and Paxton. Well, I think, again, it's easy to think that the national environment will look as blue as it is now in November or bluer, but it could go back. I mean, stuff changes in the final week or two. Republicans are kind of sitting around. They're not motivated, and independents are breaking for the Dems, but something could happen at the end. If it looks like it's going to be a blowout, I don't know. That's why you don't make a final prediction until like the final week. But, I would think it would be closer against Paxton. Maybe a tilt Republican against Cornyn. It would be lean Republican, but it could be. That's just preliminary. I would think it would be pretty competitive against Paxton. But Talrico's had stuff come out where he's not really the super moderate guy, so I think that could come back to hurt him. He has the nice demeanor and disposition, but some of his statements might not really work that well. But he could squeak by in this environment against Paxton, who's loaded with baggage. But of course, Paxton has won statewide multiple times. But against Cornyn, it could be. It probably actually, I don't know. Yeah, it could be likely, but I would say, and I don't want to underestimate the Dems who've been knocking it out pretty much. But then I also don't want to just say, well, that means they're going to keep knocking it out in November and nothing's going to change. I mean, because again, if you only go by what happened last time, you're never going to think anything else is going to happen. But Talrico would be the underdog, but it's not impossible he wins. I mean, back in 18, O'Rourke and Cruz, right? Competitive stuff. Cruz pulls it off by like 3 points, right around there. Uh, okay, 8 to 10% chance. Is that against both of them? Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe it's 8 to 10 against Cornyn. Against Paxton, it'd be 25%. Again, these are just 6 months out. I mean, I mean, it's still a fairly red state. Republicans swept everything in 18 in that blue wave, and now it's 8 years later, and um, we've seen the shifts in South Texas. We've seen the Hispanic movement, and it's fluid. So who knows, really? 48% for Talrico. That's really high. I think that's basically almost like he's gonna almost a slight favorite. Tiny underdog there at 48. Uh, Patine. Okay, popping in to say hello. Don't recall that name before, but always nice to get a hello. Appreciate that. See if we've got any other updates here. Again, there's not really a whole lot to look at, so we're kind of just looking at the same stuff and doing a hangout. Talrico stronger candidate than O'Rourke, but it's still an uphill battle. I think it remains to be seen. I don't know. I think O'Rourke had that fighter kind of disposition, and that seemed more appealing. Now he did make a couple of statements, like anybody does. It's going to be unappealing, but Talrico seems nicer. But then if they're going to pull out some of his statements, might not work. I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to get fired up by Talrico. I think more so the more moderate suburban independents might think he's approachable for the general election. Um, okay, let's see. If it's Paxton, you'd say 25. If it's Corna, it's at less than two. Yeah, again, and is that right now or that's 6 months? Because in 6 months, we're going in blind, right? We can assume it's going to at least lean blue, the environment, but who knows? It could be a tsunami. Uh, Rico's chances are dependent on the state of the nation, Trump's approval, gas prices, etc. Yeah, absolutely. Right now, it looks terrible. I mean, this Trump's bottomed out here in more ways than one, and he's going to have to turn it around because this is not going to cut it. This right now would be a pretty big blowout in the general. This would be Republicans staying home, Dems coming out, Independents breaking left, and there'd be a national blue shift of, you know, 5, 6, 7 points. You made a congressional map of Texas with double the seats. So what, 76 U.S. House seats? And you've seen Latino support to be pretty strongly Democratic overall. I noticed the support being weak in Corpus Christi and East El Paso. Is that data from what you anticipate it to be right now, or that's data from previous previous data, or is that an expected data for the upcoming election? But yeah, Hispanic support seems like it's going to be swingy. It's going to go on economics. It's going to go on culture too. It's not going to just be one thing, and of course, it's going to depend on certain places. And the candidates are going to be a factor and all that, but it's not as much of a total lock as the Dems thought it would be, you know, up until recently. And then Republicans were wrong to think, well, now they're going to be on our side just because they swung right in one election. I don't know why people just can't get past one election not being a lock. And that's why I think Republicans are drawing the Texas map. They got ahead of themselves. They just thought that it's going to stay the same in the next election, or maybe it goes back a little, but they took it all for granted. You can't just take the movement in your direction for granted, especially knowing that the out party loses seats usually. So everybody has to give it two elections at least. Give it two elections. And if you really want to be confident, give it that third election. Dave's redistrict. Yeah, I assume you made use of that link. I gave you that, or from the video, the Florida video. Okay, Corpus Christi is moving right very fast. Okay. Fishback. Oh, I think I missed that comment. Fishback up there doesn't have the big endorsements. He has endorsement of such highly respected individuals. Not even sure who some of those people are, but yeah, I know Fishback is mounting a campaign there against Donald's, but he's really, I mean, Donald's just has so much going on. The endorsements, the Trump endorsement, everybody know, well, not everybody, but more people know who he is, and certainly less risky. Fishbag is the Ken Paxton. Okay, yeah, yeah, that seems to make some sense. I get it. So what is going on? It seems like nothing's happened again. It's like um some of these, like, this is close in the primary, but again, if it's so red in the general, I don't really care a whole lot about the primary. Okay. Nothing here in the Senate. The polls close and nothing comes in. Okay, another Trump endorsed candidate has won their state Senate primary. Uh, yeah, another. We got a Siena poll here, New York governor, and this even exciting anybody at all? It's another one that Republicans thought they were gonna put in play, but it doesn't seem like they're gonna do anything here. Hochul 49, Blakeman 33. Even though the state shifted the furthest to the right in the last election, and Lee Zeldin, he made it semi-close in 22. This is not the same. This isn't going to cut it. Okay. Sherrod Brown over 90%. And I don't know if it's awesome or pathetic, when a candidate comes back 2 years later and tries to run again. You see it sometimes, or even 4 years later, the back to back elections. But Sherrod Brown coming back 2 years later, and then he has to run, whoever wins has to run again in 28 for the regular election. At that point, Sherrod Brown, he would be in mid to late 70s. We'll say mid 70s. Um, that's crazy. He should have ran for governor. I think he probably would have been a better candidate running for governor. But then Republicans probably much more favored in the Senate seat. And if Dems want to take the Senate, I guess this is the path that they saw. But Sherrod Brown, I mean, coming off a loss to Bernie Moreno, how big of a stain is that? Okay, we've got a third Trump state senator that has clinched victory. Okay, you feel bad for the Indiana Republicans who voted against redistricting. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole redistricting thing. Hey, yeah, it's gone crazy, because it scrambles political alliances. I think all the Dems and Republicans in the states that are going to get terrible maps, they should get together and say, we hate each other, but on this one issue, we got to get rid of the partisan gerrymandering. Total bipartisan thing, affects everybody, all states, just one issue. That's what you got to do. Instead, it's like you don't get that at all. I mean, you get, you know, Texas Democrats leaving the state, and then when California or a blue state does it, nobody can team up. Then those Republicans should go, hey, Texas Democrats, let's do this. Let's talk about how much we hate this. But then everybody wants to be quiet when their own side does it. Graham Plattner is the Ken Paxton of the 26th Maine Senate Dem primary. Oof, I don't know about that. And actually, if you're going to compare Plattner and Paxton and Fishback, well, Fishback, in terms of support, is way under the Plattner and Paxton. A ton of people have no idea who Fishback even is. I barely know who he is. Plattner, though, is the front runner. Paxton, totally pulling a ton. Fishback, not so much. And Plattner could easily could win the thing. Plattner and Collins, who knows? Collins somehow the polling totally sucked back in 2020. Collins looked like she was done, and then she won by some like 8 points. I can't even remember, but it was fairly convincing, and the polling was way off. Yeah, if their own looks pathetic, depends on what platform running when they're young. Uh, yeah, I mean, taking a loss and coming back. I know the age thing doesn't really matter to, at least doesn't matter to me, but I think it matters more to the general electorate. Once somebody's getting well into their 70s, kind of might matter. I mean, look at DeWine. He's old. Janet Mills, who dropped out, she was old. Susan Collins, not much younger than Janet Mills. And again, you've got Paul LePage in Maine. He's in his 70s. And it's not like he just turned 70. He's like mid 70s. But he might even be 78, at least later on in the year. And you've got Chuck Grassley, right? We're talking 90s. But, everybody's different. Remember Dianne Feinstein? She was getting wheeled around. She was totally, completely, like medically gone. So it's all different. You could be losing it, slowing down. You could be doing that at 60 or even in your 50s. And you could be totally at the top of nearly at the top of your game. You could be really high energy, full awareness easily in your 80s, if not 90s. All depends on who you are. I think Republicans will flip state, Michigan Senate seat. Oh, the U.S. Senate. Okay. Is that assuming it's Abdul El Sayed for the Dems? And you think he's less electable? I did check the Michigan general election Senate market, and it did look like it narrowed up a little bit, but Dems way favored. So I think still over 80%. But yeah, if El Sayed is the nominee, I would think that's going to come down. It's going to take a hit. But is he really going to be the nominee? That's the question. Um, okay. Plattner's past conference. Yeah, he seems like he kind of weathered that storm, at least from a primary perspective, right? I mean, he was getting hit, what was that, like 6, 7 months ago, pretty bad. And I think even a little bit more recently. And, voters don't really care. I mean, not enough. And, it's really all depends. It's tough to know how much weight to put on some controversial past statements. I mean, I guess it depends what they are, how long ago they were, what context, were they private? But, I also think just about anybody could have their political campaigns ruined if some old thing was dug up 5, 10 plus years ago. I think pretty much everybody could be done for. So, some people go, who cares what they said? It's all about what they're running on now, the positions. You got Jay Jones of Virginia, right? He got that AG seat, even though he made some violent, had violent texts. And it wasn't, 20 years ago, and it wasn't like mildly distasteful. It was recent, and fairly recent, and it was, you know, beyond just a little bit distasteful. It wasn't just some off color thing. But hey, people don't really care a ton about that. They want their team to win. I think that's the highest priority. So I mean, that's the answer I tell anybody. If they say, how could you vote for this side or this person or that person? It's like, it's because they're voting for the team, the party. Al Sayed would be a stronger candidate because he would carry the Muslim and Arab vote. The only ones Dems missed in the 24. Yeah, I hear that, but I mean, I assume more voters in the middle would be put off by a less mainstream, a more outside the box candidate. He'd turn into something like Kerry Lake in Arizona. Um, it's a red. It was a red enough state where she could have easily won that, but she fired up people with tons of passion. But too many people in the middle said, this is a little bit too out there. I don't know what I'm going to get with this. I'm gonna go with the other side, or I'm gonna stay home because I don't know. That's might be a little bit too fringe. So fringy candidates, yeah, they're. But again, it's a blue year. Anything could happen. But I would not think El Sayed would be stronger than the other candidates in the general. Again, unless I don't know if that McMorrow scandal. I don't know how big that is. Is that a big thing? Is that going to have any staying power? Maybe Haley Stevens comes back. Um, okay. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Look at this. We've got some results here in this special election in the Michigan State Senate. Again, this should be a Dem hold. Um, I mean, it could be double digits. Again, it's just going to be more evidence that Republicans are sitting home and Dems are motivated to come out, and independents are breaking toward the Dems. So, yeah, not a ton of high profile action here. So, Trump is 3-1 so far, and looks like he's in the lead in all the other ones. Indiana 6. Okay, that one's close. 6% though. We'll see if anything happens there. Um, so what else we got coming up here? Again, I there could be other primaries coming up for streaming. Might do some streams, might not. We'll see. Um, why is he in trouble? I don't know. I'm not even familiar with this guy. Yeah, Jefferson Shreve, somebody I really don't know anything about, but I think he's new to the House. Last midterm where the national political environment favored the party of the president's 2002. Yeah, I think Republicans picked up a little bit in the House, and that was unique circumstances. But yeah, so yeah, I mean the Dems pretty much gonna lock up the U.S. House. And again, think of it this way: we're just reverse the whole thing. Say Harris was in there, right? Well, the Republicans probably gonna be sailing, right? Now it's not a guarantee, of course. Remember, 22, it wasn't a blowout, but of course, still, Dems lost control. But if you want to have success down ballot and in the midterms and in specials, the trick is give up the White House and give up also Congress too. Be the out party of a trifecta, and you're more likely than not to have some nice success. Okay, what do we got? No updates here. 7 minutes ago updated, but I don't see anything. It's all pretty much, the main stuff is kind of over. Like I said, probably not going to do a whole ton on this for the stream here. Still less than 25% in Ohio, though. I'd like to get that up a little bit more. I don't know why they're taking that long. Well, here we are. Not sure when the next stream is going to be. Again, it could be in a week. It could be 2 weeks. It could be never. Could be in 6 weeks. Who knows, right? Um, but yeah, I've been doing this. We did a 4 year stream a couple of months ago. 4 years of the channel. So we're going through our second midterm election on this channel, and again, the channel kind of taken a beating as far as the metrics go. The past year should be going the other way, but it is what it is. So we're just kind of hanging out here, see what else we can get, because there's not a whole lot here. I mean, it could probably wrap this thing up soon if there's not a lot of people here and we've got most of the results. Here we go. Big dump in this Senate race in Michigan. Uh, where were you at this point in 22? As far as what? A lot of different ways to answer that. Remember Victoria Sparks was going to retire? I think that was before 24. She's like, I'm retiring. That's it. And then she kind of recanted and says she's in. Uh, okay. Shreve sort of took the road of Fetterman on the ice situation, which brought him a lot of backlash from progressive. Shreve, but how much backlash could he get from progressives? This is a pretty red district. Or he got backlash from the base, from the Republican base, because he was too moderate. Is that what it is? I think maybe that's what you're going for. All right. The channel in general, well, in 22, I mean, there was nobody here in May. It was completely dead. I was putting out videos reviewing the redistricting maps back then. Nobody was here. Nobody was here for months. Didn't really get going even much. The last couple of months before the election, it got going a little bit. I was putting out sometimes 3 videos a day. I put out 4, I think, at one point, and it barely seemed to help the channel. Um, but it was pretty weak, and then it started picking up, but then it really leveled off the past year. So it's tough to say. I mean, when I've got more than 1,600 videos for 4 years, consistency is not the thing to have a successful channel. At the beginning, I remember a lot of advice is, yeah, you just stick with it. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Sticking with it, I mean, it's hard to imagine it being worse than this, putting out stuff every day. You know, it's why I try to make videos that I enjoy somewhat because, you can't spend all your time on this. even if it's just a couple of hours a day. You got to enjoy it at least a little bit. But yeah, the subscribe it took a long time to even get 100 subscribers. I think that took I think that took like 6 months, which is astounding, really. I mean, yeah, maybe it's all the keywords, maybe it's all the titles, maybe it's all the descriptions or the thumbnails, but I mean, at some point you're putting out stuff. You should just, even if you're not doing anything, the content and consistency alone should get you some kind of a some kind of numbers. But it seems like it's kind of impossible to get to 10,000 even. You'd think after 4 years and 1,600 videos, oh, you could get 10,000, you get 25,000. But it seems like not at all. Like there's you take a dramatic overhaul, some or something. Oh, Andre Carson, yeah, he has. Okay, yeah, we cleared that up. So he got some backlash from the base. Gotcha. 26 Texas primary told me to still check the prediction markets during the election because Cornyn trailing in the markets, but let afterwards. Yeah, I do remember that. I mean, the markets, they'll only tell you so much. There's always going to be, some amount, like 10%, that are just blind sides where, hey, nobody saw it coming. Yeah, the traction is tough. 2.5 years on Substack. And yeah, some people, it seems like they just get lucky. They either have connections, they spend money on promotions, or they just somehow, find the right lane and it just takes off. Other people could just grind out content for years and get nowhere. I mean, we've all seen some channels of any topic, and it's like, how do they have nobody when they've got some solid content and they've got nothing as far as subs or views? Feels like there's a lot of luck involved or a lot of connections involved. Okay, Trump is 4-1 here in state senators backed by him. Uh, let's see. Subscribers for face reveal. That could just be never. I mean, it's kind of changes things. That's not really what I'm trying to do, but it certainly even wouldn't even be on the radar probably before like 50K anyway. But it doesn't even seem like it's possible to get to even 10 or 15,000 at this point. I mean, I'm gonna end up having more videos than subscribers again. For a while, that was the case. I had more videos than subscribers. I remember those early 6 months were, you know, terrible. And the quality has gone up somewhat since the early days. I can admit that, but we've also seen the other side of things. We've seen certain channels about again any topic where there's barely any content or the videos are not that good and somehow they've got 20,000 views on a video or they've got 9,000 subscribers and they've only got 4 videos on their channel and they're not even that good. But yeah, I mean, there's I don't, for whatever reason, I guess people don't really feel compelled to support the channel. I don't really hit it hard. Some people they're talking about their channel at the beginning or the end or all the time. I mention it rarely. I don't even mention it in the videos. Just, at the end, it's the normal like and subscribe. But the super chats and the channel memberships, you know, for whatever reason, it's low. You think some people would just get into it, with enough regular viewers, you'd have some people who want to support the channel. They just like it. but not a whole lot. It seems like a common theme of the past several streams. Sadness about the channel stats. Okay. So we're over an hour and a half here. We'll probably try to put in 2 hours, and we'll see where we're at. See if it's kind of over. 1% of the vote in this special. Shreve ran for Indianapolis mayor in 23. He got an F rating from the NRA on his gun position. Okay, how did he win that primary in 24? How did he get through to the general? And he's leading anyway, so that's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Some say 2018 was a blue wave, but realistically, it was a purple wave or purple blue blue leaning wave. Yeah, Republicans had gains in the U.S. Senate in 18. It really does defy the narrative of a blue wave if you're winning seats in the Senate. I mean, net gain. The House, yeah, total blue wave, lots of seats. Governor, too. Republicans really blew it on governor's races. But yeah, I mean, but it looks pretty weak here for Republicans. I mean, do I think Dems would have done, could have been in power and not blown it? No, I think Dems would have blown it too. I mean, everybody's blowing it. They blow it in one way or the other. Sooner or later, that's what happens. That's why people don't like politicians. Okay. Well, yeah, and also, yeah, in 18, yeah, that was the kind of the tipping point for Florida. Rick Scott taking out Bill Nelson in the Senate race. That was kind of the end of the purple state thing with Florida and DeSantis winning there for governor after it looked like he might be actually headed for a loss against Andrew Gillum, who ended up having his own baggage after the fact. Well, things have kind of stagnated again here. Okay, Sparts has won her primary. Nikki Fried, last Democrat. Yeah, that's true. I'm not even sure why she even won that race. But yeah, that was the state. Yeah, it's gotten so red. I mean, I've been underestimating how red it's been getting. 19-point win for DeSantis. And Charlie Crist, I think he's due to run again. Well, I guess he is running for what, mayor of St. Petersburg, or is it Tampa? I think it's is it St. Petersburg. He's running for something, mayor. But yeah, Charlie Crist, he's won some races, but man, he does know how to lose. In all different parties, different offices. Uh, let's see. This map, this Ohio map, yeah, they redrew this, and none of this is pretty. I mean, look at this district. This is so awful looking. Yeah, this one too. This is all we're getting in every state now, pretty much. Although the new Florida map, again, I did a video on that today. Not really all that horrible, relatively speaking, with the geography. It's not so many districts. You'd think it would be just totally cracking every blue vote. 4 or 5 different ways, having really bizarre shapes like in Virginia or California, but not horrible looking. Florida became the new Texas in the late 2030s and 40s. Dems could start looking into Florida. Yeah, things could go back. I mean, who knows what'll happen in 20 years? It's anybody's guess. Show me back in 2000 anybody predicting what was happening now, or the last 5 years. Hardly anybody's going to be right. Predictions are tough. It's what can you do? You're just going to make up something at some point. You put your best guess out there, as long as you don't totally commit to it and say, "Oh, I'm super confident this is going to happen. It's not going to be close." If you do that, and if it's a not a safe race, yeah, you could really totally blow it. I mean, remember the Alan Lickman stuff, right? The keys, the keys, right? Yeah, I did a whole video on Lickman, and it's just I he's overrated. I think that he knows about politics and historical elections for sure, but what good is a system? No system can predict very close races repeatedly. You can't do it. You could just you're gonna miss some. That's fine. So yeah, Lickman blew it. Anybody see that Lickman video I did? It's like I think it was a year and a half ago, before the last election. It's kind of a fairly in-depth video. I think it's about 12 or 13 minutes. And yeah, I mean, a system, you only need a system when something's close. Nobody cares about predicting easy calls. I remember Lickman talking about he predicted the Reagan winning re-election. like 2 years before or something, and it looked like he was not going to win, and he predicted that he would win 2 years out. Why would you make a prediction 2 years out? Does that make any sense? You make the prediction when you have enough time that's gone by, which is going to be right before the election. Who anything could change, and like he's saying, it's impossible. Anything changes 2 years out. That is totally insane. I don't even the two previous streams. I don't think there was a lot going on then. Okay, you're taking off. The next stream is on the 19th. I don't know about that. Could be before that. Could be after that. Could be all of it. Could be none of it. But if you're taking off, well, thanks for livening it up a little bit. Probably be winding it down a little bit myself. Okay, Trump is now 5-1. Oh, and he's actually this is competitive here. The 23rd, it's close. 1% difference. So, how about this last name? Schmutzler. That's not bad. I don't know what the first name is, but I'm liking Schmutzler. This August or September. 2 years of watching videos. Well, that's nice. I think I remember when you were newer, and if you watched, how many videos have you watched? Have you watched? There's again over 1,600. How many have you watched? 200, 300, 600. And do you watch all of them? Do you skip ahead? Do you end it early? We've got time for questions like this. Uh, most to the right follower. Is that true? Uh, I don't even recall that name, honestly. I feel kind of bad, actually, if you're frequently commenting. I remember a handful of names. Uh, you enjoy the stream next week for Nebraska's second. You added Texas runoff preview to Oregon because of how much is not going on. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the streams are, it's just so hard for me to fully commit to anything when I've got stuff going on and I don't know what's going to happen. And I have no clue. You don't know how many, oh, you don't know how long you've watched. Okay. You got to take a guess. You don't know the amount. Well, you also got to take a guess. I mean, you're talking about you watch every day, and do you watch the old ones before you were watching? How'd you find the channel? I mean, do you skip some of the videos? Do you skip the coin flips? Do you skip? Or I don't think you do. I don't know. Do you skip? What do you skip? And what is it about this channel that compels you to come here? Okay, you found it after the 24 New York primary. I've watched 250 to 350 videos. That's good. It's pretty good. So that's what did it for you. The New York primary in 24. I mean, I've done so many videos, hundreds, again, 1,600 videos. I mean, it's so hard to remember a lot of them, plus another couple dozen streams. And I know there's other channels out there probably streaming right now. They're probably the usual suspects. I don't know why this is stuck at 1%. I just want to know why they can't just count these votes. Uh, Nothing here in New York Times. Uh, Commented a decent amount in June, July of 24. Okay, but being completely blind, it's a little difficult with voiceover. Oh, that's interesting. So you're blind. Wow. Okay, I guess the voice, the live streams help then. Okay, every stream, usually there's something interesting that comes up. Here we are as we approach a couple of hours in about 8, 9 minutes. And again, I don't know how much longer we're going to go for after that. I'm going to go 2 hours and then probably think about throwing in the towel because there's not a whole lot going on. There's not a ton of people in here. And, we got most of the action resolved. Um, okay. Again, no knockout races here to talk about. Nothing big statewide. There's another interesting name here. Allie K. Sleds. Not bad. Interesting. Nonpartisan commentary is one of the reasons my skips or near skips are Republican presidential primary spinner battles. May sound hypocritical, but it happens. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of neutral coverage. Again, on certain issues, I've got certain opinions. I've done some videos on some issues, more of those the first couple of years of the channel. But I mean, I'm certain issues, you can't have no opinions on anything ever. But when you're covering something, you can cover it fairly neutrally. And also nonpartisan, is that really getting me anything? Apparently people have said if you go real full partisan, then yeah, that would bring in more views. Your first comment on your channel was about the North Carolina governor race ads. Yeah, the ad reactions. I know I did that race. I can't. Yeah, I do. I think I did three each. And yeah, Robinson, he looked kind of weak on some of his scandals, and Stein did not. Might do more of those ad reactions coming up. Who knows? Was doing them 4 years ago. Um, Live streams are great as long as you're not working. Your Substack name is the Blind Conservative. I would. Most closely aligned myself with the Rand Paul type. I gotcha. I mean, I'm sure I've got some viewers that are on the, maybe far right, maybe moderately right. I don't know. I mean, I know I get different types of people. So it's hard to say who is, the most or the least or whatever. You like the videos about the voter trends? Is that the registration data videos, the once a month? Is that the ones? I mean, I've done other ones covering different county shifts and trends as far as presidential movement leading up to the 24 election. I mean, I may go back and update some of these. It's tough. I don't know. I'd also like to cut down making some of these videos. Again, I have no idea what the future holds. I could never have predicted the last few months. I have no idea what's next. Um, and we again with everything. Oh, here we go. We went from 1 to 2% here in Michigan. We've doubled it. Just one outstanding race here in this Indiana State Senate. Trump is 5-1. He could be going 5-2 if this holds. And we got, most of this is all in. It's a little bit slow here in Ohio, but I wish they had a map here for this Michigan special. Oh yeah, I remember. Whitmer waited months to call the special because that could put the majority in danger. So technically, this is a highly consequential race. Any progressive wins in Dem primaries. Well, I'm actually not sure about some of these super red districts. Obviously, where it matters, not in the first tier in Indiana, or not in the eighth, seventh. Those are the only two blue leaning districts. As far as the Dem districts, I don't know. There's just these are so red. I'm not familiar with these candidates. Some of these haven't been called. I don't know. I don't know how much it matters. They're just going to be so red in the general. So I couldn't really actually even tell you if any progressives are going to be the nominees in these super red areas. And in Ohio, I don't think anything really happened either. There's not a lot of blue districts in this state either. And I don't think anything's really going on. My favorite video is the last time each state has flipped on the presidential level. Be cool to do that for governor. Uh, that they flipped. I don't. Did I even do a video the last time? I mean, I did the last time Republicans won. The last time Democrats won in each state. Is that what you're talking about? And because if so, I pretty much I think I did that for governor. But if it's the last time that they flipped, that I don't. That actually could be For governor, then that would be the last time an incumbent went down. Yeah, that because if it just flipped, I think I covered that for the last time they won, went Democrat or went Republican. I mean, again, I've got a lot of videos though. It's hard to really keep track of them. Oh, 2% in here, just 2%. And this Michigan state senate race. Yeah. How about this Virginia congressional map? Is this going to be struck down by the state Supreme Court? Again, this is a big deal. It was in the 90s, not long ago, and it plunged here. Now it's like 40% chance of being used. Is that going to be used? Is it going to be struck down? And do you think these courts, do they go by what's happening in other states? Are they going to go, well, Florida now redid their map. Maybe we should uphold ours. Do you think that's how it works? And again, your primary schedule next week, there's Nebraska, a ton going on there, and West Virginia and Louisiana, not on Tuesday. It's a Saturday primary for whatever reason. Then it's going to be Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky, Oregon, Pennsylvania, ton going on the 16th. Texas runoff on the 26th, tons coming up. Maybe there'll be a stream on some of those days. I don't think there's going to be a stream on all of those days. And really tell you, I can't tell you more than like a day out. Um, so we'll probably throw in the towel here pretty soon. It didn't really get super packed in here, but it's still nice to do some kind of a hangout. Um, and nothing's even coming in. It just seems like everything's on hold. It's just 1%, 2% in Michigan. Ohio seems like it froze. Indiana. We'll see what happens here with Ramaswamy against Acton and Brown against Houston. A couple of big time races. Dems not out of it, but they know that this is not the Ohio from you know 15 years ago. I mean, but again, go back to 18, right? That's coming off 16, where Iowa, Ohio, pretty red stuff. And then Dems were really competitive for governor, but they didn't get it done. And then that didn't really affect anything on a presidential level. 20, red stuff. Um, I pronounced the names very well. Is that right? You mean you mean some of these confusing names? I get the right pronunciation, or that's not what you mean. You just mean any name. You just think there's the right flow, the right cadence, the right inflection. Because I mean, there's a bunch of names. Yeah, it's hard to know how to pronounce them. Usually, I try to look them up if I'm going to do a video, but I mean, sometimes it looks like it's one way, but it's not. Well, what names am I even? What names could people? How could they say these different? I mean, I guess like Sharon Brown here. Some people say Charade, I guess. I think I've heard a couple of times. I don't Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah, I guess that one you could mess up. But, if there's a name I'm not familiar with, oh, I could totally butcher it. Montana House Freedom Caucus might have a big year in Montana in the primary on June 2nd. Oh, okay. In the state house. Better than CNN, some CNN anchors. I mean, I don't know how many I'm getting right. I mean, I'm just saying the names. I don't even know if I'm right on some of them. Not even 50% of the vote in here in Ohio. So, yeah, this is probably going to, again, wind it down here soon because there's just nothing happening. I mean, we know really what's going on. We get the gist of it and did a couple of hours. Probably try to throw a quick video together on these results for tomorrow. Shouldn't be too bad considering there's not a lot of action. Um, okay, so yeah, the last updates here: the Trump Senate candidates, five of them won, one of them lost. There's one outstanding. It's leaning toward the incumbent or the incumbent, not backed by Trump, winning. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Michigan has taken a long time. It's kind of pathetic. But then again, so is Indiana finishing up. Ohio also. Now we're over 50% in Ohio. We've got a majority. So we'll see what happens. Okay, well, anything last minute here? Because I think this is probably going to be it. And again, I don't know when we're going to do another one, but we did this one for a couple handfuls of people. And I think we got the results we needed. Nothing really high profile, nothing shocking. So this is kind of going to be it. So hope everybody enjoyed the commentary and the coverage, whatever you want to call it. Um, until next time, hope everybody has a great night. I hope the few people here have liked, shared, and subscribed. Feel free to join the channel. Feel free to support it any way you'd like. But this is gonna wind the stream down. Thanks a bunch. Have a good night yourselves. Next week, West Virginia Senate 2, 3, and 8 Republican primary. Okay, that is a little bit down ballot, but we'll see. All right, yeah. Have a great night. Thanks a bunch. We'll see you. We'll see you next time.